This is quite possibly the best benchtop planer that you can buy. Let me show you. We'll start at the top and work our way down. It has tool storage on here. Most planers do. That's so you can get access to the helical head. And getting access to the helical head is extremely easy. You take the dust cover off and then you just unbolt 2 bolts and then there it is. You can change those blades super fast and you're back at work. You got the crank handle up here. It works extremely smooth. Like, it's really nice. And on top you have this nice scale. It goes from 1/4 inch all the way to 1 3/4. So if you're planing boards, you just kind of need a rough idea of where you're at when you're planing. You just set that up there. We're just under 1 inch here, but we're just over 7/8. On the back side you have the dust port, and this comes with an adapter so that you can hook it up to a shop vac easily. This is a fan-assisted dust extraction, so you do not need a suction from your dust extractor. You can have a bag, you can have a hose run outside, whatever you need there, and you've got dust extraction. This is powered by a 115 volt, 2 horsepower, 15 amp motor. So you're gonna have plenty of power to plane through any woods you want. On the right side of the machine, you have a scale with an indicator that lets you know about where you're at. This is also adjustable, so you can fine tune that and get it exactly where you want it. In the center of the machine, you got a depth gauge that lets you know about how much material you're gonna be taking off with each pass. I really like this. I use this all the time on the DW735 from DeWalt. This is a really great feature to have. On top of the carriage, you see this handle here. This is a carriage lock. That's going to lock that down and doesn't allow this to move up when the board passes through it. If you saw the Craftsman review video, you may notice when the boards were going through, the carriage was actually lifting each time. That will cause a little bit of inaccuracy if you're trying to get that exact right thickness. I like this. One premium feature is this Wixie digital readout gauge. You can set this to both millimeter and inches. Just depends on where you're at and what you like. Just change it to increments and then you can move it over to the millimeter or back to inches, wherever you want to go. Let's say we want to take an 1/8 inch off this board. No more, we just need that 1/8 inch gone. This is where this is going to shine if you're really wanting to dial stuff in. All you have to do is hold the button and zero it out. Once it's zeroed, then you lower it 1/8 of an inch. Just ease down on it. 0.125 will be an 1/8. Whenever it gets to the nearest fraction, it'll show that fraction. I think that's a really nice feature. Once you get that locked in at 0.125, you can lock the carriage down and we can make our cut. Now, according to Oliver, this machine weighs about 68 pounds, and I concur, it's pretty heavy. But I do like that the fact that they have this cast base on there, probably aluminum, but it has the handles on the bottom. A lot of your planers have the handle on the top. So I like the fact that it's on the bottom because it's just much easier to move around in the shop. You also get preset depth stops on the side, 5/32, 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4. That's really easy to flip those up. If you need to, just make sure you're stopping at 3/4 of an inch because you know you don't want your board any thinner than that, or even less. The extension tables do fold up. The front one goes all the way against itself. However, the back one hits the dust extraction and doesn't go flat. It's just, meh. The 735 does that too. And if you're gonna make them fold up, make them fold up. They should go all the way to the top. And because this dust extraction is here, it would have to be redesigned to actually work. So it's kind of a useless feature on that side. The star of the show, the reason you're paying big dollars for this machine, is the bird helix head. So what's the difference in a bird helix versus a spiral head? You see some advertised on jointers and benchtop planers a spiral head. Well, a spiral head cuts square or 90 degrees to the board. They're square. A bird helix head has those blades angled so that it's actually slicing the wood. So in theory, you're going to get a cleaner cut because it's basically cutting like you would with a knife, right? So that's kind of the idea behind those. And this one has 36 cutter heads on there. So if one of them get nicked, dinged, you hit a nail, you hit a staple, whatever, when you're planing, and it nicks that, you're going to start seeing that spot in your line in the planing. This is where these things shine because all you have to do is take that out and turn it a 1/4 turn, and you can continue on because we got 4 sides to cut with. Whereas a straight knife planer like the DW735X and other benchtop planers, once you get a nick in that blade, you have to change the entire blade or turn it around if you got a 2-sided blade. So it's a little more damaging to the blades if you hit something with a regular benchtop planer with straight knives versus something like a helix cutter head. The power switch on here is a magnetic power switch. So when we power this on, if you lose power during while you're planing, say the electricity goes out or you throw a breaker, whenever you flip the breaker back on or the electricity comes back on, this will not come back on because it's been tripped. So you have to actually hit the power button off and then you can reintroduce power and then turn it back on and it'll work. It's a really good safety feature, keeps you from getting hurt. If the power's out, it comes back on suddenly and you're messing with this thing, not a good idea. Doesn't come on, you have to push the button again. That's a good feature. First board through here is a piece of maple, just really nice finish on it. Probably close to 120, between 120 and 180 grit maybe. Really nice. This side has quite a bit of tear out from a previous plane. We'll plane that side and see if we can clean any of that up. Hard maple is notorious for kind of tearing out. You can dampen it and prevent that. I just want to see how the Helical head will do. Even with the Helical head, even though they're supposed to be quieter, it's still loud. Wear hearing protection. One thing that I like is there's no snipe. If you don't lock the carriage down, I was getting a tiny bit of snipe on the spruce, but I didn't get any on the maple. None. It was just perfectly flat on both sides. Locking the carriage down and turning it ever slightly as it goes through, the spruce got zero snipe. So that's a really good thing. I really appreciate that it is perfect from the factory, or as near perfect as you can get it. What I did notice was a little bit of sawdust inside here before I ever planed anything. And that's because Oliver, before they ship it to you, will plane a board to make sure everything is dialed in for you. However, for whatever reason, if it gets knocked out or it just needs to be dialed in some more to eliminate snipe, there are those adjustment screws right here on this bed, and the instruction manual tells you exactly how to adjust this so there's no guesswork. So I wondered if the DeWalt will automatically not power back on when the power is restored like this one. So we're going to try that. Oliver wins that one now. That could get dangerous quick. I think a lot of us, when we start looking to upgrade to a better planer or buy a higher end planer, a lot of people gravitate toward the DWS 735X. It's just been a staple in a lot of woodworking shops. It's a really good planer. There is no denying that. I've been happy with this. I do like it a lot. This is a bit of an upgrade with the helical head and the other features that you're getting on there. I do think it's worth the extra money, especially if you're looking to put a helical head in this, because then you're looking at adding another $550-ish if you do it yourself, or even up to $1,600 total all in if you let Bird Helical do it. So why not just get the Bird Helical in this one? Yeah, you're giving up a ½ inch on it. This is 13, this is 12.5. A couple of things I do like better on the DeWalt is the speed at which you can raise and lower it. Because of these more coarse threads on here, you can raise and lower this thing really quickly. I do like that. It has depth stop on it. It does have the 2-speed like I talked about earlier. There's just a lot to like about this planer. 13 inches, a low profile, I just like it a lot. So how long would it actually take to lower both of these? Both of these have 6-inch capacity. I got a stopwatch, we're gonna time it. 25 seconds. Give or take. Now for the Oliver's turn. 30 seconds, so about 5 seconds difference on this versus this. Not terrible. The depth gauge that when you first put the material in, that it tells you how much you're going to take off, works better on the DeWalt than it does the Oliver. I think because the mechanism that activates that is hanging a bit lower, and so you actually get a lot of good feedback there. I much prefer it on this than the Oliver. Although the Oliver works well, I just think it works better on the DeWalt. And also the dust collection on the DeWalt, the fan assisted blower on this works much better than the Oliver. The Oliver does need a little suction to pull all those chips out. I noticed when my hose fell off a couple of times that I was getting several chips and dust coming back through the front side of the planer, where you don't really see that on the DeWalt even without suction. One other minor nitpick I do have with this Oliver is this top piece is plastic. While it also is plastic on the DeWalt, this is much more robust. It's just the way it's molded. It's got a lot more structure to it. It doesn't bend and flex so you can pass boards on top of it. This flexes a decent amount, and I worry that if you put a large board up there really hard, like if you got a big chunk of walnut, 8-quarter walnut, and you're planing and you lay it up there hard, it would likely crack that. So that's kind of really a downside of something that costs this much. This should be either a metal or better molded plastic that is going to hold up over time. I really think this would damage if you abused it too much. And most woodworkers aren't easy on things, so that should be better. All in all, I really don't think you could go wrong with either one of these if you're choosing a planer, especially a higher end planer. I've loved this one for almost 5 years, maybe a little over 5 years, and this is really awesome too. It's just really up to your preference. I'll link to both of them in the description. You can decide for yourself. Now, this thing is packed with features, like I said, but that also comes at a price. This is quite expensive, and let me know if you think it's worth the price. You do get the Bird's Helix head, which by themselves are very expensive. You also get the digital readout. You get a lot of other features that are packed into this you're not going to find anywhere else, not in one package. Now, this costs about $1,100, and if you think that's worth it, let me know, and if you don't think that's worth it, let me know. I'm curious to know your thoughts. If you look at the DW735X and buy it from Bird's Helix with the helical head already installed, you're looking at over $1,600 after shipping. That's a lot of money. This comes with the Helix head. It also has some other features that the 735 don't have. And if you read carefully on the Bird's Helix site, you see that it's actually not under warranty once you put the Helix head in there. This has a 2-year limited warranty. This is made by Oliver Machinery, and I didn't know they existed until just a few weeks ago when I was at Woodcraft and saw one on display and started researching them a little bit. They've been making woodworking machines since 1890. So they've been around for a very long time. Again, I bought this with my own money, and I'm able to do that because of channel members, Patreons, and you, if you use the links in the description to purchase things that are affiliates, we get a small commission. The support of all of that helps us to be able to keep these videos as sponsor-free as possible, and that's the way I would really like to keep it, so I would appreciate your support if you'd consider any of those 3 options. A special shout out to all of our Patreon and channel members that you see on the screen. All right, she's found a home here on the tool cart. We're gonna put it through its paces for a while and see if this is a worthy replacement for the DeWalt. Should I do a head-to-head comparison of the DeWalt and this Oliver in its own video? Comment below, let me know. If you like this video, you gotta check out the budget option planer right there. Click in the box, get you the big old virtual fist pump. Also, if you're in the market for a high-end miter saw, check out this video.